What is up people, this is YSHQ and in this video I'll be talking about Arduinos. Now like most of the people would know what an Arduino is, but for those who don't know, like Arduino refers to an open source electronics platform or board and the software used to program it. Arduino is designed to make electronics more accessible to artists, designers, hobbyists and anyone interested in creating interactive objects or environments. The source code for Arduino, like the schematics for it, are open source, and hence there would be a lot of variants of the same Arduino microcontroller for different applications and different things. And you would also find different shields for it. And by shield, I mean different attachments or add-ons for it. Like there are motor controller shields, Ethernet shields, and so on. So those are the kinds of things that you can do with an Arduino. Now, Arduino is pretty famous with among a lot of hobbyists, and a lot of people start their journey into microcontrollers and developing hardware and software using Arduino. Now, an Arduino has multiple functions that it can do. Like it can have ADCs on it, DACs on it, analog and digital input and output pins. It can communicate over I2C. It can be programmed. An Arduino can be programmed using its own IDE, which stands for Integrated Development Environment. Now, this is the easiest way to do it, and each file is called a sketch. And it is pretty simple to code in as well, as it's just a few lines to get a lot of things done. Now, I would show in the later part of this video two interfaces that I did with an Arduino. One would be using a potentiometer to read values, and two would be to display some graphics on a I2C 1.3 inch OLED display, which I made a video on previously, which I'll link down in the description. Now, an Arduino is powered by a 5-volt DC adapter or a USB plugged into a computer. And it has a few outputs like a 5-volt output, a 3.3-volt output, and it has a few grounds and a few analog and digital pins. Now, as there are a lot of Arduino controllers out there, and hence their performance and the number of pins, they would all differ from one controller to another. As I said earlier, programming an Arduino with its own IDE is pretty simple. So this is one of the sketches that is there in an example. It would take an analog value and print it on the serial monitor. So to begin with, we just initialize it with serial.begin with 9600, and 9600 stands here for the baud rate. Next, void loop, then integer sensor value equal to analog read A0. Analog read, it's a function which would read the analog value from the controller, and A0 is the port number. Serial.println a sensor value. So over here, it would print the value from the sensor value, that is from pin A0, into a new line on the serial monitor. And then it would delay it for about 100 milliseconds. Now, if I just click on serial monitor, it would show the value that it's currently reading. And if I change the knob on the potentiometer, that changes the serial value as well. So that is pretty simple. The next one would be using it with an OLED display. Now, so for this, you would need extra libraries. You could easily just search for them if you just go to Sketch, Include Library, and Manage Libraries. Now, if you click on it, it will show you a box which has all the libraries that are made for the Arduino IDE. You can search for specific libraries, or you can download them directly from GitHub or someplace like that, and just add the library in this folder, which is in Documents, Arduino folder, and the folder's name is Libraries. Just paste the whole folder over here. And that way you would be able to access the libraries in this folder. Now for the next one, we would need a custom library, and that is known as U8glib.h. Now what this library is, it's a graphics library for the OLED display, and the OLED display that I'm using over here is SH1106. It's 128 by 64 pixels, and the code, it might seem a bit too complicated, and hence I wouldn't be explaining it, but it's pretty simple if you look at it. We just define the number of pixels horizontally as well as vertically, and then we just get the value from the analog value as we did in the previous sketch, and we just print it on the display. and as the value changes, so does the graph on the display. So that sums up this video. I would like to thank Highlight Go for sending over the Arduino as well as the other components that I have used in the past few videos. So take a look in the description. It has all the links from where you can buy it. And so thank you for watching this video. Like this video, dislike it, subscribe to the channel, share it, go through my other videos, and see you next time. Ta-da!